succeed again. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start August 12th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Zach here. I've been using Natural Tree Care and Recycling for over 3 years now. Those are my guys. Aaron, the owner, is a Colorado native who runs his crew with real integrity. They've kept my trees in Centennial healthy throughout this drought. They're looking great and standing strong. No job is too big or too small. So if you want trees that actually look the way you want them, or you want trees removed, you need to call my guys, Natural Tree Care and Recycling, at 303-803-3850, or visit them online at naturaltreerecycle.com.
Dan Jacobs with Jacobs Law on 303 Law 4040. Here's a story my lovely wife Kimberly was particularly proud of. Jeffrey, a listener just like you, called 303 Law 4040 and said he was T-boned by a driver running a red light and rammed his car right into a tree. When the cops came, the other driver lied and the police believed him. They said Jeffrey was at fault. Now, with the big made-for-TV lawyers, that's where the case would normally end. Many of them won't even touch a case if they actually have to work to prove it. But Jeffrey insisted he was innocent. He worked with us together on our team to find the witnesses and the evidence to get the ticket overturned and the insurance company's denial reversed. At 303 Law 4040, we aren't a big settlement mill like the made-for-TV lawyers. Each client meets with me and my lovely wife Kimberly in person, and you get our cell phone numbers. If you've been injured in an accident, you know the number, 303 Law 4040. Go ahead, save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. That's 303 Law 4040.
I've had a number of surgeries, and frankly, I don't have time to rehab a surgery and an operation at this point in my life. I didn't want to take time off my kids' activities.
That's why former college and pro football player Bobby Carpenter turned to QC Kinetics. We couldn't be happier saving our patients like him from operating rooms and long recoveries.
They will resume like normal activity for me, which is a lot of running. It's a lot of workouts. I've been very, very blessed with how it's been able to hold up.
For so long, patients have accepted surgery as the only solution. But with new technologies, the medical professionals at QC Kinetics use regenerative treatments, your body's own biologics, to help heal and restore knees, hips, shoulders, and backs.
I actually ran into a friend of mine over at our golf course, and he had his knee done. It felt so well. He'd got his shoulder done. He goes, I can't thank you enough. He'd heard the commercial on the air, and so it's feeling great.
Find out how you can avoid surgery and finally get relief. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 303-900-8986. That's 303-900-8986. 303-900-8986.
Hi, I'm Donnie, owner of Fitness Gallery, where we believe there's nothing more important than your health. We can't stop time, but we can make your day more efficient, and we can help you get fit and stay fit.
Hey, Broncos country, I'm Terrell Davis. That's why I made the smart move to invest in fitness equipment with Fitness Gallery. It's a game changer. Work out on your schedule from the privacy of your own home.
At Fitness Gallery, we have the nation's lowest prices on the highest quality products that stand the test of time.
Imagine this: no more wasting time in traffic, no more crowded gyms. And here's the touchdown play: get your family involved. Your health is your ultimate MVP, and I know staying fit is not always easy. Whether it's Rod, Carl, or myself, we shop at Fitness Gallery, and you should too. With the right equipment at home, you can train like a pro whenever it suits you. You never regret buying quality. Fitness Gallery sells commercial-grade equipment for the home. It's simply the best.
Invest in your health and happiness with Fitness Gallery. Visit one of our 7 store locations for a free home gym layout and design today.
Hey, it's Phil Lindsay here. Do you need a new roof, gutters, or exterior needs? Monarch is your one-stop shop, backed by 16 years of experience and over 10,000 satisfied customers. Their in-house insurance team fights for you, and their white glove service means every detail is handled with care. Competitive pricing, award-winning craftsmanship, and the only roofer the Denver Broncos chose to endorse. A proud member of Team Dave Logan, make the call to your home team, Monarch Construction and Roofing, the official roofer of the Denver Broncos.
Miss an electrical problem and it can mean big trouble for your business. That's why Napa delivers the parts, tools, and expertise to catch problems before they become breakdowns. That's Napa know-how.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. Powered by Regen RX. It's The Drive with Zach By and Philip Lindsay. Welcome to Denver Sports Tonight. Taking a look at the biggest stories in Denver sports. From your online home for the best opinions and information on the Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche, Rockies, and more. DenverSports.com.
Oh, yeah, it is Denver Sports Tonight right here on the ever-powerful Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Anila Piro, Dante Gomez, hanging out with you guys here on this Thursday, August the 6th evening. Football, of course, on the mind. The Denver Broncos training camp continues to roll along. We'll get into some stadium discussion, among some other things. We'll talk about this Bo Nix tier list tonight as well. I know that has Broncos country, feeling some type of way about where Bo Nix was ranked. So plenty to unpack over the next hour as we get you home here on this Thursday. Want to hear from you guys tonight. 303-713-1043, the RamosLaw.com text line if you guys want to get involved with tonight's program. Just real quick, before we get to the Broncos and training camp and everything that kind of comes with that, football officially, maybe not, technically is probably the better word, starting up here tonight in just a couple of minutes. The Carolina Panthers get ready to take on the Arizona Cardinals in the Hall of Fame game out there in Canton, Ohio. Pumped up for that. Like, I'm watching it right now because we've got it on in the studio. I typically probably don't watch a lot of the Hall of Fame game, but it feels like it's a long time coming, and it's the first kind of big step besides training camp that gets us back into that football state of mind, D.
Yeah, AP, we are so back.
Let's go, baby.
I can't wait. I mean, by the second quarter, I'm probably going to be over the game, but I'm excited for it to start, at least get some football back. I will watch. I mean, I placed a little bit of a wager on it, so I'll probably watch towards the end as well if it's still in question at that point. But I don't mind a little preseason football. I'm not going to pretend that it's as good as the regular season by any means. Not even probably like 5X is close, but yeah, football's football. I'm going to watch.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, we got Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth on the television right now, so excited for this. Real quick, let's just kind of go down memory lane if we could, because you and I, in our late 20s now at this point, but like a lot of the guys that are going into the Hall of Fame are, guys that we grew up watching and obviously just all-time great players. We're talking about the Luke Kuechly's, the Drew Breeses, the Adam Vinatieri's, which is crazy because it feels like it wasn't that long ago that he was still kicking in the league. Among some other guys as well, notably Bill Belichick, Larry Fitzgerald. I know
my guy Larry Fitz.
Yep. Larry Legend. That's you want to talk about the definition of a steady wide receiver, just an all-time, all-around great wide receiver. That's Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh, my gosh, absolutely. I mean, the playoff run to the Super Bowl with Kurt Warner was incredible, but just such a great career. And I don't know if when he retired, it stayed this way, but at one point in his career, he had more tackles than drop passes.
Crazy.
Which is just an absurd stat for a wide receiver.
Truly absurd.
Which means that his quarterbacks were throwing interceptions on certain plays, and he was making the tackles on certain those plays there. So, I mean, just the consummate professional. Arizona is a fairly badly run franchise, to put it lightly.
Yeah, one of the least iconic franchises, I would say.
And he stuck it out there, played his whole career there, and is going to be a legend because of it.
Yeah, probably their best player in franchise history. I mean,
I would have to imagine.
I'm trying to think, do they have any other Hall of Famers?
I mean, Kurt Warner, but Kurt Warner played half with the Rams.
And you think Rams, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like when you think of like a tried and true Cardinal, Larry Fitzgerald's going to be the one that comes to mind. And obviously, an all-time great player, no doubt. We know Sean Payton will be in Canton this weekend to welcome Drew Brees into the Hall of Fame. And, Drew Brees, one of those guys as well who, is considered undersized for his position to a certain extent, dealt with that career-threatening injury in San Diego before going to New Orleans and post-Katrina, and we know everything that kind of comes with that. And Sean told some pretty fun stories. I want to say it was last Friday, so just about a week ago, just about, Drew Brees coming to New Orleans, then going to visit with Miami, right, and ultimately choosing New Orleans, and, just an era definer, right? Like, Drew Brees to me was kind of like that tweener quarterback who was, like, in between. Like, we saw Brady and we saw Manning kind of on the come-up, and it's like Drew Brees was kind of that next man up when it came to the great quarterbacks of the era. A wicked passer, laser accuracy, great rocket arm as well. Excited for that. And then, Luke Kuechly, a linebacker, a guy whose career was short-lived, right? Like, didn't play. I think he played certainly less than 10 years. I think it was, or maybe it was right around 10 years. I forget. They showed the little graphic there. But point being, like, didn't have a super long runway in his career. But when Luke Kuechly was at the peak of his powers for about 5 years there, making all-pro teams left and right, I mean, he's as good as it gets at the linebacker position.
He was so fun to watch.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
Typically when you watch football, especially when you're younger, you tend to gravitate towards the offensive side of the football. And Kuechly made you it made it be must-watch TV when the Panthers were on defense, and just the plays that he was making, the anticipation that he played with, it was like it was almost the reverse of Peyton Manning, where it's like he knew what the other team was going to do, and that gave him the ultimate edge because he's not the biggest, he's not the strongest, he's not the fastest out there, but you put a solid player out there with his instincts, and it becomes a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah, no doubt. Kuechly played from 2012 to 2019, so never even eclipsed that 10-year mark. And, of course, we all know the Denver Broncos got the best of Luke Kuechly in that Carolina Panthers defense in Super Bowl 50. So excited for the Hall of Fame game tonight. It's more symbolic, I would say, than anything, right? It's just kind of like the first step, like I said, because you get training camp, which I guess is technically the first step. Like when it comes to like viewing, like you can go home tonight and watch football. Like you and I have been watching football the last week and a half because we've been at Broncos training camp, and I know a lot of our listeners have been out there as well as fans. And if you follow us on social media, you've been able to get some behind-the-scenes looks at some of the stuff that I've been able to post. Like I posted a sick Troy Franklin route run today, got some Jalen Waddle footage up there, some Bo Nix footage. Andrew Mason's crushing it with his post-practice reports as well. So make sure to follow us at the Denver Sports 1043, the Fan, like Instagram and Facebook pages and TikTok and YouTube, because we get you covered with all of your Broncos training camp. But like, it's been hot for quite a while, right? It's like I'm talking to my girlfriend the other day, and she's ready for that crisp, cool fall day. You and I are talking a little college football because Haynes King is the third-string quarterback for the Carolina Panthers who will play tonight. And if you don't know who Haynes King is, he was the quarterback just a season ago for Georgia Tech, who was the opponent that Colorado, that being the CU Buffs, opened up their season with a season ago. So, yeah, just excited for it. Again, like I'm not going to go crazy about wins or losses. I mean, I saw like Carolina's win totals at 6.5, which seems kind of low for a team that made the playoffs last year, but all things considered, the jury's still kind of out on what they might be long-term as an organization. The Cardinals, I think we all expect on paper to be, probably the worst team in football, if not the second or third worst team in football. So again, nothing crazy, but just excited to kind of dip the toe in the water per se with football being back. And real quick, just while we're on the Hall of Fame conversation, we don't need to go crazy on Belichick. I think we've talked about that, right? I think it's an absolute joke that Bill Belichick's not getting into the Hall of Fame, and it seems like it's a bit of a slap on the wrist just because of Deflategate and maybe the way that he treated the media. It's more political than anything. That's probably the best way to put it. Bill Belichick not being a first ballot Hall of Famer is purely political, I would imagine. So again, that's the big national story about the Hall of Fame. But Sean Payton today asked about Mike Shanahan, who happened to be at practice today, and we all know what Mike Shanahan means to this fan base and what he was able to accomplish in his time as head coach, but also Sean Payton himself kind of deflecting questions about his Hall of Fame status and whatnot. I do think Sean Payton will probably have a pretty strong case to get in the Hall of Fame as is. Now, Sean Payton, of course, leads the Denver Broncos to the promised land and becomes the first head coach in NFL history to win 2 Super Bowls with 2 different organizations as a head coach. Sean Payton's going to be a slam dunk Hall of Famer.
Absolutely. If he's able to win a second Super Bowl, and I get that someone here in Denver is still waiting after winning 2 Super Bowls, but if you're the first guy ever to do it with two different teams, slam dunk in the Hall of Fame. Maybe not first ballot Hall of Famer. I would still like to see him be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but
I don't think he will be.
Even if he wins a Super Bowl here in Denver?
That's where it gets interesting.
Well, it's interesting that Bill Belichick's not in, which, I mean, you already said, but absolute travesty that he didn't get in. I mean, if he can't get in on his first go-around, I don't know if anybody deserves it.
And I understand Broncos country has no love for Bill Belichick, but I think we could all acknowledge and take a step back who Bill Belichick is, and that's one of, if not the greatest, NFL head coach of all time. And obviously in modern NFL history, you're talking about the Vince Lombardis of the world, of course, as the GOATs. But like Vince Lombardi's kind of like Babe Ruth, where it's like this mythical, different era. But like 2000s and on, and even as a defensive coordinator out there at the New York Football Giants, like one of the most well-rounded, winningest head coaches, an all-time great. And for Bill not to be in the Hall of Fame is a travesty. But I do want to bring it back to Mike Shanahan here for just a moment, because I think Sean will ultimately get his due. I know the Bounty Gate stuff will probably loom large over him potentially. And by the way, like this is just my conspiracy theory. Like a lot of people are like, well, at least in the media, like people that I've talked to, is like that Seth Wickersham article that came out. Like, why does Sean give that type of access to the big networks and not the local guy? Like there's a lot of guys at the Denver Post. Like you tell me Luka Evans wouldn't have eaten that up, right, if he had the opportunity to do the same type of story that Seth Wickersham did. The reality situation is Sean's going to need the national media on his side to help push his case forward when it comes time for him to be a Hall of Famer. Now, of course, when it comes to, what was I going to say here? Him winning a second Super Bowl with a different team, of course, if that happens, that the case is going to make itself at that point. But, like, you got to play the political game a little bit if you're Sean. So, again, that's just my conspiracy theory. I think part of the reason why Sean is warm and fuzzy and cuddly to the USA Todays, the ESPNs, the Foxes of the world is because those are the outlets that can help make him a Hall of Famer versus, like, us here locally. Like, what are we going to do to push his candidacy? So, just that real quick. Someone, the 1855, come on, guys. Belichick did nothing without Brady with a couple of exclamation points. I get that. Phil Jackson didn't do anything without Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, if you want to play that game. Like, Phil Jackson is considered to be one of, if not the best head coach of all time in the NBA because he had the best player at the best time. He also had Shaq for a couple of those championships in LA. Like, I understand, like, we got to separate the coach and I think Brady's probably more important to that Patriots dynasty than Belichick was, just at the quarterback position. But, like, Bill Belichick's a Hall of Famer. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the fact that he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer is a joke.
You can't take away his accomplishments just because he had Tom Brady there. That, to me, is a ridiculous argument. He still went out and won 6 Super Bowls.
6!
And actually, I think maybe 7 or 8 if you count the Giants.
I believe it's 8. He won 2 with the Giants.
Okay, so he has 8 Super Bowls altogether. You can't take that away.
Yeah, you literally cannot. So it is what it is. I don't want to go on the Belichick rant, although the RamosLaw.com text line is getting fired up about that one. But Mike Shanahan. Because we're talking about, like, modern influence, right? And Sean was kind of asked the question today about how, you know, there's one Shanahan offense was kind of his response there. And then, obviously, there's offshoots with Kyle in San Francisco, Kyle when he was with Atlanta, Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, Mike McDaniel, all guys that at one point or another come from this Mike Shanahan coaching tree. Mike Shanahan, the fact that he's had to wait as long as he has, Dante, is a complete and utter joke because not only is this a guy that, you know, has won a couple of Super Bowls here in Denver, obviously with John Elway, an iconic player, not just for the Broncos, but in just, you know, NFL history and Terrell Davis and that offense and everything that kind of came with that with the Broncos in 1997 and 1998. And I know they fell short in 1996, but that team was also a wagon at that point. And again, I know they never got back to the mountaintop, but AFC Championship games with Plummer and you know, the early 2000s run, like Mike Shanahan's teams were always good and always relevant and managed to climb the mountaintop twice, not only twice though, but in consecutive seasons, which is just extremely impressive. And on top of that, knowing the footprint that Mike Shanahan has kind of left on the modern-day NFL with the way that his son and the McVays and the Fleurs and the McDaniels of the world have kind of continued to push forward this idea and concept that he brought forward with the Shanahan offense. Not only does Shanahan have the credentials as a coach when it comes to winning and the championships and the overall success, he's also got the lineage to go along with it. And look, I think that Mike Shanahan is going to get in the Hall of Fame. I'd be shocked if he didn't. But the fact that we've had to wait this long is a bit suspect to me, Dante. Like, I don't understand that.
It's just unfortunate, to be honest, where this guy hasn't coached in, what, a decade? Longer? 15 years?
Like, I want to say 20. RG3. Did he coach after the RG3 year? He was with Washington at that point.
I'm assuming he probably
like another
kept
year
going
or
for
two.
another year or two, but we're talking about a decade to be safe there. And it's not like his accomplishments are getting any better. He already has the accomplishments that should put him into the Hall of Fame. So I don't really understand what the weight is at this point. He deserves to be in there. And you mentioned it, talking about the coaching tree, too. I will say I'll disagree with Sean a little bit. I think there's 2 Shanahan offenses. I think Kyle gets to call the Shanahan offense, too.
I think that's fair. But it's also, like, even Kyle's version, though, is a lot different than what Mike was running in the 90s and early 2000s, right? Like, it's evolved with the game as the game has evolved.
Of course. But either way, the coaching tree of Shanahan, McVay, LaFleur, there's so many guys. Kubiak, I believe in Las Vegas, runs a similar offense there as well. Yep. So there's just countless reasons that Shanahan deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and I can't figure out why it's taking this long.
Yeah, you know, Terrell Davis had to wait quite a while. There's a number of other guys in Broncos lore that deserve, you know, probably a stronger look at Hall of Fame candidacy, and for whatever it is what it is. But again, Mike Shanahan will probably get into the Hall of Fame when it's all said and done, just a little longer.
I hate that it's a probably, though. It shouldn't be.
If you had to put a percentage chance on it, what do you think it is? I think it's pretty high, dude.
What I think it should be is 85%, but who knows?
I was, you know, you read my mind. I was going to say there's probably an 85 to like 90% chance he gets in, which honestly even feels kind of low to me. Just because
exactly
of what he's accomplished and what he's done to kind of push the game forward. Again, I would be dumbfounded if Mike Shanahan does not enter into the Hall of Fame at some point. So it is what it is. Okay, fun little conversation to get us started here on Denver Sports tonight. Again, football's in the air. We've got this game on, Carolina and Arizona. Have some fun with that throughout the course of the program. But just wanted to kind of take a trip down memory lane because I know Zach and Phil and Dover and Cecil in the morning show, they've been beating you over the head in a good way about training camp news and notes, and we're about to do that our own version of that here in just a moment too. But figure let's have a little bit of fun here to open up the show with the Hall of Fame conversation. But of course, Denver Broncos training camp indeed does roll on. I've been out there for I've been out there for just about every practice, and as have you, Dante. So had a lot of opportunities to kind of see what this team looks like. Look, I think the big narrative from when they started last week to where we are now is an offense that shot out of the gate with their hair on fire and looked awesome off the rip. But the moment the pads came on, the Broncos defense flipped a switch. And it feels like it's been all defense this week when it comes to who won the day. And Zach a couple of weeks ago when I filled in for Dover was giving me pushback about, because I'm not a big fan of these who won the day conversations because I think it's kind of like iron sharpens iron and all that kind of stuff as well. But there's no question the defense has been the dominant force, in particular the last couple of days. I mean, there's really been limited bright spots, I would say, offensively from this Broncos team. Am I concerned about that? Not necessarily. Still got quite a bit of runway, 3 preseason games, a lot of time for them to kind of work these kinks out per se. But it is worth noting, I mean, the defense, as expected, has come out and dominated the last few days since pads have been on.
Well, is it expected? Because the offense was kicking ass the first couple of days, and I get that the pads
no
weren't
pads. I mean, like, it is expected. I mean, with the defense, yes, because, like, you and I, we've stood next to each other for, a couple of these team periods. Like, Pat Surtain is literally running at 30% in slow motion when there's no pads on. Like, it's a joke defensively. Like, you even want to call it a shell defense. I don't even know if that's doing it justice because it is very much walk through, lackadaisical is probably too strong. But, like, point being, it's like the offense has every opportunity to thrive when there's no pads on. Not saying there's zero effort from the defense, but, like, it's clear that there's a much different intensity level from the defense when the pads are on.
And I think the biggest difference in intensity level comes down to the offense and the defensive line. When those pads are on, the defensive line is getting after it.
Oh, yeah.
And these quarterbacks don't have a lot of time to get rid of the ball at that point. There's a lot of plays that would have been sacks that we see out there that obviously don't end in sacks because they're not hitting the quarterback or anything like that. They're not really blowing plays dead either. So this defensive line, when those pads come on, oh my gosh, look out for opposing quarterbacks because you are going to be under fire.
And we understand Wattenberg's been a bit banged up as well, but it's like, you've got Garrett Bowles and Quinn Miners out there. Like, these guys ain't no slouches, right?
Like McGlinchey.
They've got a pretty formidable offensive line, all things considered. I think that's a large reason as to why Bo Nix has taken as few sacks as he have throughout the course of his first 2 seasons in the league. But it is a night and day difference. Now, when it comes to the individual stuff, wide receivers are making plays and this and that, and Bo looks good, right? Like, that's the big thing is Bo, the ankle healthy. It does look like he's kind of testing that ankle when it comes to utilizing the pocket, running outside of the pocket, and just, putting himself in a good position with the ankle so he has as much or as close to full confidence, rather, as he could have come week 1 against Kansas City. But, yeah, I mean, it's been all defense, man. I think one of the guys that has really stood out to me, in particular, I think today, and it just so happens to be that he spoke with the media today as well, Riley Moss looks fantastic. He really does. And I've been a Riley Moss defender. Like, I'm not afraid to say that. Like, I think Riley, obviously we know he's got to clean up the penalty situation, and he got a raw deal on some of those calls last year. But, like, if you just take the penalties out of it, which I know is a hard thing to do, like, Riley Moss is a really, really, really steady cornerback. And I think it was with you, and I whether it was on the air, off the air, one of the ideas that I'd thrown out to you before training camp, it started as like, hey, like if Jahdae Barron looks really good and Jaquan McMillan looks really good and Riley Moss looks pretty good, like, do you think Denver maybe tries to flip Riley Moss to a team like Detroit, per se, that's in desperate need of secondary help just because you have a Jahdae Barron as well as a Jaquan McMillan? Riley Moss has looked so good to me in camp that I don't even think you consider trading him at this point. And again, that was total tinfoil hat just thought from me, knowing that you have Jahdae Barron, who you hope is going to grow into a starting caliber cornerback in this league. Like, Riley Moss, to me, defensively, along with Q Robinson, who I know Zach's been on to, really impressing me through the first couple of days of padded practice.
Yeah, and I entertained the question about do you trade Riley Moss, and it was more contingent on if Jahdae Barron took that step that we were looking for. It appears as if he has not taken that step. Still some time in training camp, a preseason game, so he can still go out there and prove himself to be in that role. But at this point, I think it's the opposite with Riley Moss, where you're not talking about trading him. You're talking about maybe extending this guy.
Yeah.
And I would wait until at least the regular season to have those conversations and actually sign him to something moving forward here. But I think that's the path that we're looking at. And Riley Moss has earned his role on this team, and he earns it every single game. When you're on the opposite side of Patrick Surtain and teams don't want to throw at Pat Surtain, you're going to get a lot of action, and Riley Moss has done a great job dealing with that. I would like to see him here in Denver for a while.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. And again, like, let's pump the brakes just a little bit because it is training camp, but he did make a play. I don't want to say a receiver's name just because I don't remember who it was, but like a slant type of route over the middle, and Riley Moss, full extension, arm over the receiver, knocks the ball out, diving fashion today towards the end of practice. I mean, that was a great play that we saw from Riley Moss, and again, he's been making plays all training camp, so you absolutely love to see that. And again, the defense really, really dominating the moment the pads came on, to be completely honest with you, which is not surprising to me. And ultimately, like, I was listening to Dover and Cecil today when I'm down there at training camp. Like, the way the offense had kind of come out of the gate firing prior to pads is like, we didn't even see that. And I wasn't covering the team at this time, but like Dover and Cecil were around. Like, we didn't even really see Peyton Manning's offenses like get off to that quick of a start. Like, that was more of an anomaly than the norm, as we've all kind of talked about here on the station. But like, at some point, you expected the offense to maybe come back down to earth a little bit, and the defense just being as quality as it is to kind of step up here. And that's what we've seen throughout the last couple of days, really this entire week down there at Broncos training camp. But I want to go back to a thought that I shared with Zach at the end of the drive. Of all the guys we've talked about that are banged up right now, and Jalen Waddle, walking a little gingerly out there today. Cortland Sutton, we know what he's dealing with as well. Nick Bonito, among some other guys. Outside of Nick Bonito, the guy, Luke Wattenberg, of course, like outside of Bonito, a lot of these injuries, of which we don't really know the severity of, although I would think it's probably fair to speculate that these aren't anything crazy when it comes to the injury front. Like, let's knock on wood here. I don't know if any of these guys are going to miss time in the regular season because of where they're at with these injuries right now. But it is interesting and maybe just a teeny tiny bit a cause of concern that a lot of these injuries are skewing towards the offense. That's what I would think. Because the one position it feels like the Broncos maybe aren't properly equipped to remedy on defense, like if one of these two guys goes down, you're getting pretty thin as linebacker. But if you go cornerback, maybe safety a little bit, defensive line, we know what they have as well. Like, you feel pretty good about the replacement level players, guys that are really battling for starting roles and just overall playing time right now. But on offense, it's like, God forbid there's a game in the regular season where Cortland Sutton and Jalen Waddle both can't go.
I get what you're saying, but I will say I like the depth at receiver on this team.
Me too. I think
Troy Franklin is going to be a star on this team. I think Pat Bryant is going to be great as well. Michael Bandy's a good depth piece. If you need to pull him up from a practice, that is my boy.
Your boy.
If you need to pull him up from a practice squad, or like he's the 5th, 6th wide receiver on the team, either way, I think he's plug and play. So I'm not rooting for Cortland Sutton or Jalen Waddle to miss any time, but I think the Broncos are somewhat equipped if that ends up happening.
Theoretically, yes. I'd be curious to see how that plays out in real time. And again, I don't think that's going to happen, right? But it's like where they're at right now. Waddle, as Sean Payton said, should hopefully be good in about 4 to 5 days. Sutton seems like it's more of just maintenance, doing what the team is telling him to do with the catapult system that they have. So, again, I'm not going crazy about anything that's going on right now with the injuries as it pertains to the Denver Broncos, but it is certainly something to monitor. And hopefully everyone is back sooner rather than later. Nick Bonito, among some other guys as well. And these seem like more like bumps and bruises than anything that could potentially be devastating. Of course, I'm not a doctor. What do I know? But that's just kind of my read on the situation. So it doesn't seem like the Broncos are dreading any of these injuries that will affect them come regular season. All right, let's hit a break. When we come back, let's continue along with the Broncos training camp discussion. I want to kind of get into that wide receiver conversation as it pertains to Troy Franklin, Pat Bryant, even Marvin Mims as well. And I have a question for Dante about the skill of this Broncos roster. I'll tell you what that is next.
If Davis Webb and the Broncos offense is the top storyline of the season, then close behind is
this defense forcing more turnovers than they did last year, and the impact it will have on this defense, on this offense, and on this overall team if they're able to, law of averages, improve on the measly 14 turnovers that they forced last year, and what it would look like if they improve by 10, 12, never mind if they doubled it and got upwards of 28 or 30, which is where the league leaders actually live.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
You worked hard for your money. It's time your money worked harder for you. Open a 7-month CD from Wings Credit Union and earn a guaranteed 4.4% annual percentage yield with just a $500 minimum deposit. It's one of our best rates of the year, but like all good things, it won't stick around forever. Get started today at wingsco.com/CD special. Let's figure it out together. Rate accurate as of July 31st, 2026, and subject to change without notice. Subject to eligibility. Insured by NCUA.
Hey, it's your boy Stink. Ever wonder what if the best room in your home wasn't inside? That's exactly what Inside Outside Spaces helps homeowners create. They design outdoor spaces that actually fit how you live. From custom pergolas to patio covers, screens, decks, pavers, outdoor kitchens, and fire features, they'll help you enjoy your backyard almost year-round. Inside Outside Spaces, building outdoor spaces that feel like inside spaces. Visit InsideOutsideSpaces.com. One company, one team, one call.
Gebhardt BMW, your trusted family dealership since 1975 in Boulder, has a championship-level lineup ready for you to test drive and take home today. They currently have specials on both the BMW X3 and X5 models. The BMW X3 model is a luxury compact SUV that offers balanced handling and a powertrain variety. The BMW X5 model is a high-performance powerhouse luxury model that offers you a thrilling driving experience. They also have a great pre-owned BMW lineup as well. Schedule your test drive today. Go to GebhardtBMW.com.
Gebhardt BMW, your trusted family dealership since 1975.
Hey guys, Mark Schlereth here. When I'm looking for a place that delivers big on flavor and has an awesome atmosphere, I head to Jack's. Locally owned with locations in Denver on Pearl Street and the new flagship in Lone Tree at Park Meadows Drive. Jack serves premium Australian Wagyu, incredible seafood, and chef-driven dry-aged specialties. Grab lunch, enjoy social hour from 3 to 5, or make it a date night. And don't miss the Blind Tiger Speakeasy. Jack's, where upscale meets comfortable.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this rush hour ad to keep you calm, which could help your driving. And science says therapy is great for a healthy mindset. So enjoy this 14-second session on us. I think you've done everything right and absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, anything that hasn't gone your way could probably be blamed on your father not being emotionally available because his father wasn't emotionally available, and so on. And now that you're calm and healing, you're probably driving better too.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Earn an accredited MBA in as few as 16 months for about $21K at University of Maryland Global Campus. Explore 10 specializations, including finance, HR, cyber technology, and more. Plus, showcase the value of your MBA with a comprehensive learner record and digitally demonstrate in-demand skills and credentials to employers. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start August 12th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Summer is a time to feel and look your best, but I'm not talking about your tan or abs. Guys, I'm talking about your hair. Restore that bald spot, reverse your receding hairline, or add volume to decades of thinning during Advanced Hair's once yearly summer savings event. Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day, and it can even grow for life. Did I mention Advanced Hair even guarantees your new hair will grow? Take advantage of your flexible summer calendar and get the most hair for your dollar during Advanced Hair's best offer ever. The summer sales event is on for a limited time, so schedule your free consultation and get the details today. 720-459-HAIR. One-day treatment, life-changing results with Advanced Hair. Your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Check out the incredible before and afters and get your savings details while still available. That's 720-459-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it.
Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of Essentials Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Oak Grove Speed Test Intelligence data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
It's Denver Sports Tonight on Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan.
All right, welcome on back in. Denver Sports Tonight. Danilo Piro, Dante Gomez. Hope everyone is doing well out there. Enjoying Broncos training camp. Of course, a week from tomorrow, the Broncos will open up the preseason with a matchup against the Atlanta Falcons. By the way, do we think, Penix and Tua are going to play in that game, right? For Atlanta?
Well, they've been hurt, right? I don't think Penix is cleared.
I
I don't know if you saw the video of
you're
Matt
right.
Ryan throwing at Falcons.
No.
He's the
I'm so
president
locked
of-
in to the Broncos.
Yeah, he's the president of the Falcons, and he's at practice throwing balls because they're just that thin at quarterback right now because I don't believe Penix has been cleared yet. And then Tua had something come up at one point where he couldn't play either. So they're a little thin at quarterback.
Well, it's the old saying, and Broncos country unfortunately knows it all too well. If you have more than one quarterback, you don't have a quarterback at all, right? Something along those lines. It's crazy. Like my buddy, I think we were actually talking about the trivia questions that you guys do for the morning show and all that kind of stuff, and we play like our own version of sports trivia. And I forget how he worded the question. The answer was Jeff Driscoll, right? But it's like, who's the only Broncos quarterback post-Manning before Bo that I think has like a winning record as starting quarterback of the Denver Broncos? And I believe it's Jeff Driscoll, who I believe is 1-0. My initial guess was Brandon Allen, by the way. I thought it was pretty sharp. I actually guessed at first Kendall Hinton or Phillip Lindsay. I couldn't remember if they won that game.
They did not win that game.
Yeah.
I don't believe it was particularly
I thought it
close
was.
either.
I think you're probably right about that. But I believe, if I remember correctly from the conversation on Monday, the answer is Jeff Driscoll, right? But it's like how far we've come, right? How far we've come with Bo Nix and the Broncos in an AFC Championship game appearance and having some fun with that. Just real quick to kind of put a bow on the wide receiver conversation, no pun intended there. I agree with you about Troy Franklin. I think he's looked really good. I think Pat Bryant has looked stellar, though. Like, and you're talking about a guy entering into year 2. If he can stay healthy and stay on the field and continue to develop as a player, like that guy has sticky hands, man. Sticky hands. And I just think that Pat Bryant has a chance to be a real deal playmaker in this league. So I understand the offense hasn't been so good as a unit, but individually, I think all three of the guys, and Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin, Pat Bryant, all three of those guys, in my opinion, have stood out in some form or the other when it comes to making plays in individual drills and sometimes during the team period as well. So I just cannot wait to see how this wide receiver room ultimately develops and blossoms under Davis Webb and Bo Nix in year 3 and everything that kind of comes with that. But the question I wanted to ask you that I alluded to before the break, I actually got to give Dover and Cecil credit for this one because it was something that I heard them talking about, and I believe it came up unprompted. Who do you think is the second most important player on the Denver Broncos? Because I think we all agree it's Bo Nix is number 1. Right, like without Bo Nix, we saw what happened. Mike Kliss, I believe, shared an answer when he was on with Dover and Cecil today. I believe he said J.K. Dobbins as arguably the second most important Bronco at this moment in time. I don't want to put words in Mike's mouth, but I'm pretty sure that's what he said. And if it wasn't number 2, it was a top 5 most important Bronco for sure. But there's a name that I have in mind, and I agree with Dover and Cecil on this one. But if you need some time to think about it, go ahead. I'm just curious as to who you think is the second. Like, if you had if the Broncos lost this player, which player hurts them the most?
They don't know Garrett Bowles.
Okay.
I just think this offensive line has been such a strength of the team, and Bowles has been a huge part of that. And especially at left tackle, you need someone that's going to be over there and be consistent and play at a high level. And Bowles has been arguably an all-pro at left tackle. He's a top 100 player on the NFL's top 100 list. So I'm going to go Garrett Bowles, number 2.
It's a good name. It's a good name. I think Garrett Bowles or Quinn Miners. I don't think you can go wrong with either of those two guys on the offensive line. The one that I'm going to go with is the name that Cecil threw out. I think it might be Zach Allen. I think Zach Allen might be the straw that stirs the drink for this Broncos defense. I think part of the reason why Nick Bonito is as effective as he is because of Zach Allen, right? And I know a lot of people are going to point to Pat Surtain. I think Pat Surtain is obviously one of the most valuable players to the Denver Broncos. But I feel pretty, like if Pat Surtain, and we even saw him miss a handful of games last year, like I feel okay with Riley Moss and Jaquan McMillan. Like if Zach Allen misses a game, and we know about the quarterback hits and the pressure on quarterback stats that have been thrown out about Zach Allen, like I just think Zach Allen, man, not only is he maybe the second most important player on the Denver Broncos, this one I'm not even willing to argue about. I think Zach Allen's the most underrated player on the Denver Broncos. A guy that just shows up any given Sunday, makes play after play after play, gets after the quarterback at that position. Unlike many people that have done it in recent memory in the NFL, Zach Allen, to me, is an absolute beast. And I think because of how effective Zach Allen is, that makes life a bit easier on Nick Bonito, makes life a bit easier on Jonathan Cooper. Of course, the secondary, when you're getting to the quarterback that often, I think Zach Allen, man, is just, for what he's been, and I know he just got a contract extension, what was it, last year? Zach Allen is so vital to the heartbeat of this Broncos defense.
I definitely have him top 5 on the team as far as most important. The thing about that is they're very deep at defensive line, and that's what, or at least we expect them to be deep. But not Zach Allen deep. No, Zach Allen makes a massive difference for this team. And if you're talking most impact on the team, I think Zach Allen's definitely up there in that conversation. And you don't get to have the sack numbers that this team had the last 2 years without a guy like Zach Allen just absolutely wrecking stuff up front. And he's looked good at camp as well. He is the perfect combo of size, strength, speed. Yeah. He gets after that line. He gets double teamed up front, which opens up one-on-ones on the outside for guys like Bonito and Jay Coop. So I think he definitely is, as far as the defensive line goes, he's the straw that stirs the drink.
Yeah, I think that's fair. We got a couple of texts here on the RalmoSaw.com text line, 303-713-1043, if you want to get involved. Like, a lot of people, like, chirping about Surtain. Like, I'm not saying, like, Surtain is probably 3. Right? Like, that's probably where I put Surtain on my list. And I think we saw a Broncos defense hold their own. And look, if Zach Allen misses a few games here or there, I think the Broncos defensive line will be okay. I just think when Zach Allen's in the game, like, that's the guy that's going to go out there and just disrupt opposing offenses' game plans. Like, that's just kind of how I feel. And I think Surtain obviously does that as well. Like, he's the closest thing to, like, a Revis Island as you're going to get in the modern-day NFL. Like, Surtain is, as Sean Payton put it today, the best, if not a top 2 cornerback in the NFL. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, but I like Riley Moss a lot. I like Jaquan McMillan a lot. We'll see what happens with Jahdae Barron as well. I just think you take Zach Allen off that Broncos defense, my man, and it feels like the dynamic for them changes a little bit. Whereas I feel like if you take Surtain off the field, the dynamic changes, sure, a little bit, but I feel like you can still play within the same style that you will with Riley Moss, Jaquan, etc.
And I will say this in terms of Zach Allen being, what was the phrase, more important?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or most impact. Yeah, I forget most exactly how I put it. But like, okay. Guy that you can't live without.
But a tally for Zach Allen here is there's not really a way to scheme away from him if you're the offense.
Correct.
It's you snap the ball and he's right there. He's going for your quarterback. Where Pat Surtain, you can put the other team's leading receiver maybe on the inside, and then he's going to go against Jaquan. Or maybe you just don't have your leading receiver do much and you just stick him out there as a decoy. There's no decoying Zach Allen. You're going to snap it and he's going to be in your face immediately.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, I think it's a fascinating conversation because there's a number of different ways that you can kind of go there. Like, obviously, Surtain, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Bo Nix is number 1, right? But I think the Zach Allens, the Surtains, the Garrett Bowles, the Quinn Miners, those are all guys that enter into this conversation. Heck, healthy as well, maybe not on the same level, but like Talanoa Hufanga. Like, you want to talk about a guy that makes an impact every single time he's out there, and we'll see if they can force more turnovers this year. Like, Hufanga was a massive addition to this Broncos defense last year. So just some fun food for thought. I picked that one up from Dover and Cecil. Cecil agrees with me, or I rather agree with Cecil, excuse me. J.K. Dobbins is an interesting one, though, because when J.K. Dobbins went down last year, we saw this Broncos offense, of course, rushing-wise kind of fall off a cliff. And I understand that R.J. Harvey was effective as kind of an all-purpose back when it comes to receiving and scoring touchdowns, but like the run dynamic for the Broncos certainly took a hit. I mean, a healthy J.K. Dobbins is an absolute difference maker as well for this Broncos offense. So, look, you can go a number of different ways here, but again, like I feel like we talk so much about Nick Benito and Jonathan Cooper and Pat Surtain. Like, we should probably be talking about Zach Allen in the same type of light as we talk about these other guys, because Zach Allen is as good and as effective as any pass rusher, obviously on the Broncos defensive line, but also just nose tackles and everything that kind of comes with that in the league. Like, I think he's a severely underrated player. I really do believe that. So,
and maybe it starts off with in Denver we need to hype him up more, because if we're not hyping him up here in Denver, I don't expect the national media to hop onto that.
It's because he does the dirty work, right? It's kind of like that blue-collar player on that defensive line. Like, Benito's got that flash and that style. Like, Zach Allen's kind of just a brute, right? Like, he's just going to go out there and will his way towards the quarterback. It's not as flashy and sexy as it is Nick Benito coming off the edge, but it's surely as effective, if not more. That is Zach Allen, the way that he plays the position that he does. So let us know your thoughts there, 303-713-1043 on the RamosLaw.com text line. All right, when we come back, we'll put a bow on the show. We'll do all Broncos today. The tier list that came out throughout the course of this week, with Bo Nix being labeled as a Tier 3 quarterback. Do we agree with that? Do we disagree with that? Or is he just right on said list? All that when we come back right here on Denver Sports Tonight.
The Broncos' new stadium timeline is already at risk. But who deserves the blame if Burnham Yard falls apart?
If this thing does move out of Denver, it will not be on this ownership group. No. It'll be on this whole process that we were told a year ago was very thorny. And you deal with politicians and bureaucracy and consultants, and eventually they could just say, you want to know what? The juice ain't worth the squeeze. We're going to Lone Tree, which was described to you and I a month and a half ago as plug and play by someone within the Denver Broncos.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
We wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Hamilton built America's financial foundation on sound money, later embodied by the gold standard. But we abandoned that discipline in 1971 and have seen inflation erode the dollar's value. What's the foundation of your savings? Is it gold or something that can be devalued? Hi, it's Dr. Ron Paul, and I encourage you to speak with my friends at Birch Gold Group about diversifying an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Learn more by requesting a free info kit on gold IRAs. Just text the word SECURE to the number 989898. Let Birch Gold help you build your foundation with gold. Text the word SECURE to the number 989898. Text SECURE to 989898.
It's home selling season. And what's the biggest mistake you can make when selling your home? Settling for less money. That never happens with Orchard. Low ball offers can wear you down, causing you to settle for thousands less. You don't have to settle when you sell with an Orchard agent. Orchard reinvented the real estate industry by guaranteeing your home sale. Their local agents help you sell on market for top dollar. First, Orchard gives you cash up front to buy and move into your new home first. On your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then, once you're settled in, your Orchard agent helps you sell your home on market for top dollar. Here's what one customer said. I went under contract within 24 hours of my home listing, which was amazing. With Orchard, you never have to settle for less. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Curious how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
It's no secret that the checkout line feels a lot heavier. If those daily essentials are ending up on a credit card, those double-digit interest rates are quietly draining your bank account. If that debt is starting to feel heavy, you're not alone. And if you're a homeowner, you've likely looked at your mortgage rate and thought, I can't touch that. With American Financing's Smart Equity Loan, you don't have to. It allows you to wipe out high-interest debt and lower your monthly overhead while keeping your primary mortgage intact. It's a surgical strike against debt. Unlike a fluctuating HELOC, the Smart Equity Loan is a fixed-rate loan, giving you a predictable monthly payment. At American Financing, there are never any upfront fees to find out what you qualify for. Guys, talk to a salary-based mortgage consultant today. Experts who are paid to help you save, not sell you more than you need. So call them at 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000, or visit them online at americanfinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Hi, I'm Donnie, owner of Fitness Gallery, where we believe there's nothing more important than your health. We've just celebrated our 27th year in business. Thank you for your continued support.
Hey, Broncos country, I'm Terrell Davis. That's why I made the smart move to invest in fitness equipment with Fitness Gallery. It's a game changer. Work out on your schedule from the privacy of your own home.
At Fitness Gallery, we have the nation's lowest prices on the highest quality products that stand the test of time.
Imagine this, no more wasting time in traffic, no more crowded gyms. And here's the touchdown play, get your family involved. Your health is your ultimate MVP, and I know staying fit is not always easy. Whether it's Rod, Carl, or myself, we shop at Fitness Gallery, and you should too. With the right equipment at home, you can train like a pro whenever it suits you. You never regret buying quality. Fitness Gallery sells commercial-grade equipment for the home. It's simply the best.
Invest in your health and happiness with Fitness Gallery. Visit one of our 7 store locations for a free home gym layout and design today.
Do you believe in love at first sight?
We do, and you will too when you see Tacori. Handcrafted in California, Tacori rings have design details you won't find in any other diamond engagement rings.
Including Tacori's perfectly engineered crown and windows of light created by Tacori's iconic crescent design.
It's the Tacori touch, and you'll find it at Williams Jewelers, Colorado's only platinum Tacori store. I'm Steve Williams.
I'm Shayna Williams.
And I'm Dylan Williams. You'll find all your Tacori jewelry at Williams Jewelers of Inglewood, along with one of the largest selections of certified loose diamonds in the state, all at the guaranteed best price.
So come, fall in love with the Tacori ring she's always dreamed of.
Tacori at Williams Jewelers of Inglewood,
Colorado's premier jeweler.
Williams Jewelers, we can make diamonds a part of your life.
Williams Jewelers of Inglewood, where Colorado shines. On the corner of Bellevue and Broadway, the official jeweler of the Colorado Avalanche.
This segment of The Fan is built by Smart Local 9.
Want real Broncos talk? Cecil Lammy and Andrew Mason bring the heat on Orange and Blue Today. The most passionate intelligence and in-depth Broncos coverage in the game. Weekdays at 5 p.m. on the Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan YouTube channel. Hit subscribe at Denver Sports 104.3 and never miss another take. Orange and Blue Today, powered by Ramos Law, official injury law firm partner of the Denver Broncos. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan. Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan presents Denver Sports Tonight.
All right, winding on down here, Denver Sports Tonight. And you love Hero, Dante Gomez. Let's have some fun here to end the show, right? I know training camp started, but it's always list season in the summer. And this one comes from The Athletic. Mike Sando is the author of this. How 50 executives and coaches rank 35 quarterbacks across the NFL. And this is actually the show that Jake Shapiro and I did for today's Shapiro and Piro, which was kind of reacting to this list as a whole. You can check that out on the Denver Sports YouTube channel if you want. But point being is they break quarterbacks up into 4 tiers. Tier 1 is categorized as someone who carries his team each week. The team wins because of him, expertly handles pure passing situations, and also has no real holes in his game. Guys in this tier include Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford, and Joe Burrow. That's it for Tier 1. When you get into Tier 2 here, and there's a lot of quarterbacks in this tier, he categorizes them as guys that carries his team sometimes, handles pure passing situations in doses, or has other dimensions that elevate him above Tier 3 and also has a hole or 2 in his game. This includes guys like Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott, Drake May, who's number 8, Goff,
Jordan Love. I mean, there's a lot of guys at this portion as well. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, right? Trevor Lawrence, and Jalen Hurts. The list kind of goes on and on and on. And then you get to tier 3, which is a legit starter, but needs better running game or defense to win. They add here lower volume drop back passing offense suits him best. Number 18, Bo Nix. So they have Bo Nix as the highest quarterback in tier 3 coming in at number 18. And look, I'm not like Dover and Cecil when it comes to the Bo Nix defense and everything that kind of comes with that as well. But I think having Bo Nix below, some of these other guys potentially is a bit disrespectful. Like, maybe not disrespectful, but I think Bo should be in the same tier as the Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnolds of the world, as well as Trevor Lawrence. And again, like tier 2, like let's run through these real quick. Like tier 2 is described as a quarterback who, wow, there's a lot of tier 2 quarterbacks. I got to scroll all the way up here. Carries his team sometimes. I think Bo Nix does that. I think Bo has the ability to carry his team when he needs to. Handles pure passing situations in doses. I think Bo does that. I don't think he's the most effective pure passer out there. We know he has mobility to his game as well, but I think he can handle them in doses. Has other dimensions that elevate him above tier 3. That's where I think the legs come in. And has a hole or two in his game. Look, Bo Nix is not a finished product by any stretch of the imagination, but of those 4 traits that I just listed, I think Bo Nix checks every single one of those boxes. And I understand he's the number 1 quarterback in tier 3. And the reason we're kind of going over this is because this Mike Sando list is like arguably the most comprehensive quarterback ranking of the offseason with the executives and coaches that he talks to across the league. I think there's a bit of disrespect here for Bo Nix, Dante.
See, it's funny when you were reading off the criteria for each tier. When you're reading tier 2, I'm like, oh, Bo Nix checks all of those boxes. And the added dimension to his game is that mobility and making plays when it breaks down, playing a little bit of backyard football. So I don't necessarily have a problem with where he's at. I think he should be tier 2. I don't know how many quarterbacks he should be ahead of on this list. Maybe Jaden Daniels. After that, I really have to struggle. Maybe Trevor Lawrence I would put Bo Nix ahead of as well. But I think everyone else is pretty deservingly ahead of Bo at this point. But based on the description of each tier, I think Bo needs to be in tier 2 here.
Yeah, I think it's less about the number, honestly, and it's more so the tier that he finds himself in. I completely agree with you. Other quarterbacks that find themselves in tier 3 include Aaron Rodgers, C.J. Stroud, who comes in at number 20, Daniel Jones, Bryce Young, Kyler Murray, and Jackson Dart, along with Cam Ward. I mean, so you're saying that you're putting Bo Nix in this? Or wait, some of those guys may have been in tier 4. Excuse me, I apologize.
No, you were right. They are all tier 3.
Okay.
I'm looking at you can actually add Tyler Shuck, Tua Tagovailoa, and Kirk Cousins to that tier as well.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, tier 4 is Malik Willis, Geno Smith, Deshaun Watson. Those are your 3 tier 4 quarterbacks. But like, yeah, and again, I don't think it's overly disrespectful. Like I get it because you're putting him at the top end of this tier 3, but like just when it comes to me, man, like I don't know. I just, here's an anonymous quote from an executive. This guy's got to be a Chiefs executive, a Raiders executive, or a Chargers executive. Quote, just as easily as he can win games for you, he can lose games for you, end quote. When has Bo Nix ever lost a game for the Denver Broncos?
I mean, he wasn't able to play in the AFC Championship, but I don't think that's what they're alluding to.
Right, 100%. I mean, it's just fascinating to me. Here's another quote. Good player, dynamic, can run a little bit, an exec said. He plays big in big moments, but just as easily as he can win games for you, he can lose games for you. They are as good as they are largely because of their defense is as good as it is. And Sean Payton does a nice job helping him make plays within his skill set. So we're going to hold Sean Payton and a great defense against Bo Nix? Because Sean Payton is tailor-made an offense for Bo Nix, we're going to hold that against him?
Yeah, I mean, we have Brock Purdy on the list, so all those apply to Brock Purdy as well. Great roster around him, great defense, so if we're going to penalize Bo, we need to be also penalizing Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy has had more sustained success than what Bo's done. Multiple trips to the conference championship, a trip to the Super Bowl as well there, so a little bit of a difference there at this point, so I'm okay having Purdy ahead of him. But you can't have 8 quarterbacks in between those two if that's the reason you're knocking him.
Yeah, I'm with you. Again, just a fun little conversation about out here tonight. If you want some more in-depth analysis kind of on that topic, make sure to check out today's Shapiro and Piro on the Denver Sports YouTube channel. All right, that's it for us on Denver Sports Tonight. We'll be back at training camp again mañana. We'll have some fun with that. For Dante Gomez, I'm Anilo Piro, DST on the Fan.